The knock came at exactly midnight, sharp and unexpected, slicing through the silence of a Christmas that had already felt heavier than any other. The single father sat alone in his small living room, the glow of a modest tree flickering against the walls, his hands wrapped around a cold mug he had forgotten to drink from, convinced that nothing more could happen on a night that had already taken everything out of him. He never imagined that one knock would quietly rewrite the meaning of loneliness, pride, and hope in his life. Before the story goes further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and quiet miracles that happen when people least expect them, please take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel, Ripple of Kindness. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. He had never planned to spend Christmas this way. Life had forced it on him, piece by piece, year by year. Being a single dad was not part of his dreams when he was younger, yet it had become his entire identity. His days revolved around early mornings, cheap breakfasts, rushed school drop-offs, long work hours, and nights where exhaustion outweighed sleep. His daughter was everything to him, but that love came with sacrifices he rarely spoke about. That Christmas, she was staying with her grandparents in another city, the first holiday they would ever spend apart. Because he could not afford the travel and could not bring himself to say no when they insisted, she deserved a fuller celebration than he could provide. The house felt too quiet without her laughter. Decorations were minimal, not because he disliked Christmas, but because energy was something he had run out of long ago. Bills lay stacked on the table, reminders of how close he lived to the edge. At work, he carried the same tired smile every day, determined not to let anyone see how hard it had become. His boss, a woman known for her professionalism and emotional distance, was the last person he would ever imagine crossing into his personal world. To him, she was authority, expectations, and deadlines, nothing more. The day before Christmas had been especially hard. Work ended late, a mistake he had made nearly cost him his job, and he walked home through streets glowing with celebration that felt like they belonged to another universe. Families passed by, couples laughed, children tugged at gloved hands, and he kept his eyes down, telling himself this was temporary, that strength meant enduring without complaint. By the time he reached his door, the weight of the year pressed so heavily on his chest that even breathing felt like effort. Midnight arrived quietly, marked only by the ticking clock and the faint hum of the heater. He had been staring at a photo of his daughter on his phone when the knock came. At first he thought he imagined it, a sound born from loneliness. But it came again, real and firm. Confusion replaced sadness as he stood, heart pounding, running through every possible explanation, none of them making sense. When he opened the door, the cold air rushed in, carrying with it the last person he expected to see standing there. His female boss stood on his doorstep, coat dusted with snow, eyes tired yet warm, holding a small bag and a quiet determination. The moment felt unreal, like a scene misplaced from someone else's life. She did not smile widely or speak dramatically. Instead, her presence alone shifted the air, breaking the fragile shell of isolation he had wrapped himself in all evening. In that instant, he realized how invisible his struggle must have seemed to everyone, including himself. She had noticed more than he thought. The missed lunches, the way he never talked about holidays, the subtle exhaustion behind his discipline. She had learned about his daughter through fragments, overheard phone calls, a drawing once taped to his desk. That night, after finishing her own obligations, she drove through the cold not as a boss, but as a human being who refused to let another person disappear into silence on Christmas. She did not come with grand gestures, but with presence, which was rarer and far more powerful. Inside the house, the simple decorations suddenly felt enough. The small tree looked brighter. The empty chair across from him no longer mocked his solitude. The hours that followed were not loud or extraordinary, yet they carried a depth that neither of them would forget. Shared food tasted warmer. Time slowed. The heaviness he had been carrying all day began to loosen, replaced by a quiet understanding that someone had seen him, truly seen him, and chosen to show up anyway. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to feel something close to relief, not because his problems were solved, but because he was no longer facing them alone. That night did not change his bank account, erase his fears, or promise an easy future. What it gave him was far more important: proof that kindness could cross boundaries, that dignity did not mean isolation, and that asking nothing did not mean deserving nothing. As the night faded toward morning, something inside him shifted. He thought of his daughter and imagined telling her about this Christmas, not as a sad story of absence, but as one about unexpected care. He realized that strength was not only about enduring silently, but also about allowing others to help when they offered without judgment. That lesson, learned quietly on Christmas night, would stay with him longer than any gift. If this story has touched your heart so far, please take a moment to comment below and share what kindness means to you, because your words may be the light someone else needs today. When the door finally closed again and silence returned, it no longer felt cruel. It felt peaceful. The house held warmth that had nothing to do with the heater. The single dad sat down, looked at the tree, and felt something he had not felt in a long time: hope without fear. Christmas had not passed him by after all. It had simply arrived in a form he never expected. If this story moved you, reminded you of someone you care about, or made you believe a little more in quiet acts of compassion, please like this video, share it, and stay connected with us. Your engagement helps spread stories that matter. And before this story ends, we have one special request. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe even one small act can change a life. Because sometimes, the most powerful miracles do not come wrapped in ribbons. They come as a knock at midnight, reminding us that no one is truly alone when kindness chooses to show up.